Let's now look at what is and what is not included in GDP. First, let's look at two types of non-production transactions that are not included in GDP. The first one of these is purely financial transactions. Now, these include number one, public or government transfer payments, which are payments by the government to individuals for which the government does not receive a new good or service in return. So there's no contribution to current production. So these can include like social security payments, welfare payments, and so on. Purely financial transactions also include private transfer payments, which are, for instance, the allowance money that parents give children or the cash gifts given during holidays. Again, there is no production of output. Rather, there is simply a transfer of funds in this case from one private individual to another. Apart from that, purely financial transactions also include financial investment, which is the purchase and sale of financial assets such as bonds and stocks, which is again not included in GDP because they mainly transfer a claim of ownership on the firm's existing assets from one person to another. There is no production of new goods. So purely financial transactions, be it public transfer payments, private transfer payments, and financial investment are not included in GDP because they do not contribute to the production of new goods and services in return. The other type of non-production transaction that is not included in GDP is second-hand sales or used goods sales because they merely transfer assets instead of an addition to the economy's current production. Only if there is any value added, then that value added is about. For instance, you sell an old car to your friend. Since it's an old car, it's not included in GDP. It was included in that particular period's GDP in which it was produced. But now when you're reselling it, so it's not included in GDP. So GDP apart from this also does not include household production, which refers to goods and services people produce for themselves. For instance, if a person cares for their family by cleaning the house, that is not included in GDP. But if they hire someone to clean the house, that is included in GDP, even though they both are carrying out the same economic activity. Now, the underground economy is also not included in GDP, where the underground economy refers to buying and selling of goods that is concealed from the government to avoid taxes or regulations or because the goods and services are illegal. We do not include the value of intermediate goods and services in GDP to avoid double counting as the value of intermediate goods and services is already included in the value of the final product. Goods produced outside the country are also not included because GDP is concerned with where production happens, and that production should happen within the geographic borders of the country. For instance, if you buy an imported shirt in Japan, so then that is not included as a part of GDP because your consumption will go up, but at the same time, your imports will also go up. And as GDP is C plus I plus G plus X minus M, so if consumption increases, imports increase, M increases by the same amount. So as a result, they offset each other and overall GDP remains unchanged, although net exports will change. So apart from this, if we look at the treatment of inventories, any unsold produced goods and services are put into inventory will increase your GDP since they'll be a part of inventory investments under I, which is your gross private investment, as in effect, we're assuming the firm purchases their own unsold output.